Both sides of a story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides of a story.
Yes, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides of a story.
Both sides of the story.
Power. Class is in session. Power 106.
God and nature first made us what we are. Then out of our own creative genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. Follow always that great law. Let the sky and God be our limit, and eternity our measurement. There is no height to which we cannot climb, using the active intelligence of our own minds. Minds create, and as much as we desire in nature, we can have through the creation of our own minds. In our homes and everywhere possible, we must teach the higher development of science to our children and be sure to develop a race of scientists par excellence. For in science and religion lies our only hope to withstand the evil designs of modern materialism. Never forget your God. Remember, we live, work, and pray for the establishment of a great and binding racial hierarchy, the founding of a racial empire whose only natural, spiritual, and political limits shall be God and Africa at home and abroad.
For the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green pastures.
Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Victory in Jesus.
Amen.
Victory in Jesus.
Amen.
Pull up on your victory.
I say the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green grasses.
Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Victory in Jesus.
Amen.
Victory in Jesus.
Amen.
Pull up on your victory.
I know the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green pastures.
Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory.
Victory in Jesus. Victory in Jesus. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Victory in Jesus. Pull up on your victory. Oh, say the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want.
Good afternoon to you, wherever in the world you are listening to us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Let's prepare you for what is to come. It's a very special edition of Both Sides of the Story this afternoon. The focus is revivalism. Jamaica ratified the UNESCO Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage back in 2010. Now, Jamaica's revivalism has been submitted for recognition of UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity, and that was submitted last year. We're looking forward to sharing with you the history of revivalism, Jamaica's first folk religion, empowering the revival communities in Jamaica and safeguarding their heritage. We want to look at the impact on Jamaica's religious heritage, folk music, dance, and popular music and dance, especially reggae. And so we started out this afternoon with some famous words delivered by the Right Excellent Marcus Messiah Garvey. God and nature first made us what we are. Then out of our own creative genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. Follow always that great law. Let the sky and God be our limit, and eternity our measurement. And we went on, but we also paired that selection, that extract from Marcus Garvey's teachings, with this selection, "The Lord is my shepherd," by Sister Pat. And so there's the context for you. Now that you have the context, now that we have prepared you for what is to come this afternoon on both sides of the story, let's get in our usual introduction. 2021 to 2030 is the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, and the Decade of Action for Road Safety. It's the 14th day of the 10th month of 2021, the International Year of Peace and Trust, the International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Fruits and Vegetables, the International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor, and the International Year of Health and Care Workers. Put another way, it's the 14th day of the 5th month of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season, and the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, is telling us that a broad area of low pressure several hundred miles north of Puerto Rico continues to produce a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms, primarily east of its center. Recent satellite wind data indicates this low remains elongated on its west side, and stronger upper level winds are expected to prevent it from developing into any system of any significance, any weather system of any significance. On Friday, tomorrow, this low is forecast to accelerate to the northeastern section of the region while merging with a mid-latitude trough, and further tropical development is not expected after that time. So there are some little things out there, but nothing significant to cause concern weather-wise. That's according to the National Hurricane Center out of Miami, Florida. Let's take it a little closer to home now with a word from the National Meteorological Service. Weather-wise, there's a trough across Jamaica, and the trough is still very much across the island. Isolated showers and thunderstorms expected across hilly areas and western parishes tonight, partly cloudy. In terms of the other observances for the month of October, let's remind ourselves that October is being observed as Red Cross Month, Lupus Awareness Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, Oral Health Month, National Egg Month, Manufacturers Month, National Heritage Month, Correctional Services Month, Cybersecurity and Domestic Violence Awareness Month. October is also Black History Month in the United Kingdom. And according to the National Library of Jamaica, October is Legal Deposit Month, which encourages every national publisher in Jamaica to, within 1 month of the publication of any document which he or she publishes in Jamaica, deposit in the legal depository of the National Library the number of copies specified.
I know the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
The following is a notice to shareholders of Radio Jamaica Limited. Shareholders of Radio Jamaica are advised that the hosting of its annual general meeting will be held on Wednesday, October 20 at 10 a.m. in Kingston. However, given the recent gathering limits imposed on AGMs, the meeting will be held without the physical attendance of shareholders. Further, attendance will be virtual for only those who register to use links being published in the Gleaner and Star or received from calling the company. For a few shareholders who may not be able to join virtually from home, arrangements are being made for 15 shareholders chosen on a first-come, first-served basis to attend virtually within the gathering limits and appropriately distanced at the offices of Radio Jamaica Limited at 32 Lyndhurst Road and 15 at the Gleaner at 7 North Street. Additional rules or access will be communicated directly to those registered shareholders. For information on registering to attend virtually, attend as one of the persons at Lyndhurst Road or North Street, or on how to collect a printed copy of this year's annual report, shareholders must call 876-932-6207 or 876-733-2610 or any of the additional numbers printed in the Gleaner and the Star. Calls should be between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. from Monday, October 11 to Friday, October 15.
It's the show that engages you with stimulating and intriguing discussions to spice up your night. It's Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas, Mondays to Thursdays from 10 p.m. until midnight.
Hello.
Hello, Pastor.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Well, you may ask me a question. I may or may not answer.
Hear pertinent advice and share your thoughts on topical issues, relationship matters. Get the answers you need for your burning questions. It all comes together on Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas.
You know, look like she did love me to me. But me still, there's she pushed me out, so do my best anyway.
That's Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas, keeping your company Mondays to Thursdays from 10 p.m. till midnight, right here on Power 106 FM.
Both sides of the story.
This live broadcast of Both Sides of the Story in observance of Revival Heritage Day is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Both sides of the story.
Victory in Jesus. Roll up on your victory.
We also know that it is World Standards Day 2021. Hoy es jueves el 14 de octubre 2021 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est jeudi le 14 octobre 2021 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être votre service pour une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. All we're saying is it's Thursday, the 14th of October, 2021, and we greet you well wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never, ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
I say the Lord is my shepherd.
As we have indicated at the start of the program, it's another special edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Our focus, revivalism this afternoon. And we're going to start with a lady who has become quite an exponent on the subject of revivalism. In fact, she has written a book under the heading Revivalism, Representing an Afro-Jamaican Identity. Revivalism, representing an Afro-Jamaican identity. The author is very well known at home and abroad. She's a cultural consultant, former performing arts coordinator with the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC, program manager, Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, and she's also a teacher. She has taught at Edna Manley, UWI, and MICO. We're talking about Dr. Maria A. Robinson-Smith. Good afternoon, Dr. Smith. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, thanks.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for choosing this platform, Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM, to spend some significant time on the subject of revivalism. Thank you so much for choosing us.
Yes, Dervan. We're happy to be on.
Right. So what
it is Heritage Week.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's part of it's a significant time of year for us in terms of Heritage Week. We're a couple of days away from Heroes Day, etc. Does that explain your timing, or is there more to it than just coinciding with Heritage Week activities?
There's probably more to it, but it's a good time for it to happen.
Yes.
This really is part of a project that we have supported by the UNESCO participation program. And it's about sensitizing people across the communities, both in Jamaica and the diaspora, as to the respecting and safeguarding revival heritage.
Mm-hmm. And what are you hoping that those who are listening to us now and will be listening to the program for the rest of the afternoon, that we will come away with, having listened to the various interviews, yours included?
Hoping that people will really understand that this is really Jamaican religion, founded here, started here in Jamaica, one that reflects the views of the people and the struggles of the people and our heritage, not only our African heritage, but also parts of our European heritage. And it is really a representation of our own religion.
And how have you been able to win the not just attention, but the support of the members of the revival community right across Jamaica?
I think first respecting their religion, because respect, and trying to understand and to listen to them. I learn what I learn about revival. I learn from the revival people. Mm-hmm. I don't guess. I don't come up with my own stories. Mm-hmm. So I travel across the island to different rituals and ceremonies and meet the people. And they have been gracious in sharing their information with me. And I always try to represent well. Mm-hmm. Sometimes revival people, and just anybody, step back from sharing because they feel that this knowledge might be twisted, might be used against them, or might be used even in a disrespectful manner. Mm-hmm. So part of this is the whole business of understanding cultural diversity, that you don't have to be a member of any particular group, but that respect, as we say in Jamaica, respect you.
Every time. And you have demonstrated a tremendous amount of respect for the religion. You have engaged practitioners of the religion and so on. But how common is it for us to have publications like the one you've put together, Revivalism, representing an Afro-Jamaican identity? Is this a diamond in the rough, so to speak, in terms of being one in a million, or are there other significant publications on revivalism that you're aware of?
There are a number of articles, but I think this is the first book that has been published. We have some good articles that have been out there. The Honorable Edward Seaga, his article. We have had things done by Professor Shevans. We have had way back to Simpson and so on. But there were articles looking at probably a particular group and just speaking to that group, but not an overall look as this as I've taken. Maybe because I took the time to do a PhD in cultural studies and using this medium revivalism to do my research.
And so, how would you characterize your contribution to the revivalism heritage in Jamaica through this book? What would you say to those listening to us who are wondering, what will I learn when I get my copy of Revivalism, representing an Afro-Jamaican identity?
Well, I look at the form in terms of its history. I look at the different spaces that we have revival meetings, the different meetings and the ceremonies, and I look at the dance and the music. And I also try to look at how it connects mainly to the African identity. I make the point that it is not only an African religion because it's called an Afro-Christian religion, but I find that the area that the people are most interested in, and also what interests me, is the African continuities that comes up every time in revivalism. And it's important to also note that these continuities carry through, as I think some other people will speak, straight through to probably dancehall and so on, even if we don't connect. But that's, the big elements carry through different things in our lifestyle, because it's a lifestyle religion. It's not just going to church for an hour or two. It really has its own. It's a belief system.
Yes.
that it supports.
Yeah. And what you're also doing by virtue of this publication, Dr. Smith, is helping to demystify revival and revivalism in Jamaica by virtue of the information, the rich information, authentic information that you have put together.
Well, as they say, anything we don't understand is a mystery, and it's not called by any other names.
Yeah.
So part of it is that we have to, we have to try to understand, because it is meaning, as I always like to quote, as Stuart Hall says, it is meaning that gives us our identity. If we don't understand things, we can't relate to it. So part of it is trying to open a conversation. So we hope that today the conversation will continue.
Excellent. And our conversation will continue as we get ready for another guest coming up in a moment. But we're scheduled to speak with you again as the program progresses. Thanks for getting us off on the right footing at the start of this very special edition of Both Sides of the Story, Dr. Smith. We will catch up as the program unfolds.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I know the Lord, He's my shepherd,
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30. The following is a public service announcement from Power 106 FM. Jamaica. Each wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the added danger of variants, has brought unprecedented pressure on public resources. Our hospitals and healthcare workers at breaking point. Our economy battered, families in mourning, and our children face an uncertain future due to learning loss. In this race against COVID-19, we must stay in it to win it. We must continue using techniques that can help to beat the virus. Follow COVID-19 mitigation measures, including wearing masks, sanitizing, 6 feet of physical distance from others. And on this leg of our relay, we can win with vaccination. These safe and proven vaccines can make the difference against COVID-19. And now that vaccines are in supply, let's get vaccinated so we can get back on track and keep winning. The finish line against COVID-19 is in sight. And with true Jamaican determination, we can all have the victory. Brought to you by your friends at Power 106 FM.
So we ain't giving up, no. We put up a fight. We got to be ready. Cause time's getting traded. Just said, don't you worry.
The Rare Collective is hosting an online art auction October 17 from 2 to 5 p.m. Bid online on over 100 works of art by premier artists from Jamaica and the Caribbean diaspora. Proceeds will be used to rebuild a 120-year-old Spanish wall house in St. Elizabeth. Invest in art, our community, and our heritage. Visit wareauction.com to reserve your space and register for this exciting event. That's WARE auction.com. Creative Building Finishes Limited has sponsored the radio production of this event. Power Talk on Power 106 FM, finding solutions to the challenges we face in a globalized world. Power Talk, taking talk radio to another level. Join Dr. Herbert Gale on Mondays and Tuesdays and Simon Croskell from Wednesday to Friday as they provide riveting analysis on the issues of the day and speak with stakeholders charged with driving innovation to move Jamaica forward. Tune in for innovative features designed to showcase local developments and highlight how the global important issues of the 21st century are being addressed. That's the powerful pair, Dr. Herbert Gale and Simon Crosskill on Power Talk, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays, right here on Power 106 FM. The following is a notice to shareholders of Radio Jamaica Limited. Shareholders of Radio Jamaica are advised that the hosting of its annual general meeting will be held on Wednesday, October 20 at 10 a.m. in Kingston. However, given the recent gathering limits imposed on AGMs, the meeting will be held without the physical attendance of shareholders. Further, attendance will be virtual for only those who register to use links being published in the Gleaner and Star or received from calling the company. For a few shareholders who may not be able to join virtually from home, arrangements are being made for 15 shareholders chosen on a first-come, first-served basis to attend virtually within the gathering limits and appropriately distanced at the offices of Radio Jamaica Limited at 32 Lyndhurst Road and 15 at the Gleaner at 7 North Street. Additional rules or access will be communicated directly to those registered shareholders. For information on registering to attend virtually, attend as one of the persons at Lyndhurst Road or North Street, or on how to collect a printed copy of this year's annual report, shareholders must call 876-932-6207 or 876-733-2610 or any of the additional numbers printed in the Gleaner and the Star. Calls should be between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. from Monday, October 11 to Friday, October 15.
Both sides of the story.
This live broadcast of Both Sides of the Story in observance of Revival Heritage Day is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Both sides of the story.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. It's a very special edition of the program as we turn our attention to revivalism, Jamaica's first folk religion. We hope you'll be, and members of the revivalism religion will feel empowered and knowing that their heritage is being safeguarded in this way and also being prominently presented. We're anxious to discuss the impact on Jamaica's religious heritage, folk music, dance, and popular music and dance, especially reggae, and related matters. As we indicated earlier on, Jamaica ratified the UNESCO Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage in 2010. And Jamaica's revivalism has been submitted for recognition to UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity 2020. We've already heard from I'll call her the architect behind the program this afternoon. And of course, the book, if you need to spend your own time going through, reading, learning more, then you can get your copy of the book, Revivalism, Representing an Afro-Jamaican Identity. In the meantime, though, we're going to say hello and welcome to Yuri Peshkov. Good afternoon, Yuri Peshkov. How are you?
Good afternoon. Very happy that this program is live. Everything is good.
Good. That's good to know. That's good to know. What is your interest in this kind of programming, focusing on intangible heritage, in this instance, revivalism?
Yes, first of all, let me tell you that Jamaica is very, very active in implementation of the convention and also following up to to the committee because the Jamaica have a mandate on the ICH Intergovernmental Committee that will end next year. And let me also recall you that last December, the 15th Intergovernmental Committee for Safeguarding of the ICH was chaired by the Honorable Minister Grange from as a chairperson of the whole international committee. So what I'm saying that indeed we see the efforts of Jamaica in safeguarding of the intangible cultural heritage, and we are also happy to admit that the revivalism is part of it. And as you mentioned, the inscription, actually the nomination file, was submitted to UNESCO in 2020 for possible inscription by the end of this year, 2021. So we will see for the decisions of the ICH Intergovernmental Committee.
And from where you sit as culture specialist with UNESCO, and when you survey other countries in terms of whether they're seeking to get some kind of ratification for their intangible heritage, how does Jamaica stack up, especially in this area of revivalism?
Yes, well, there are different types of intangible cultural heritage recognized, such as linked to oral traditions or performing arts, any rituals, festive events, knowledge practices, and also traditional craft making. So in all of these domains, we do have the activities and also nominations, but more importantly is that the convention, through its operational projects, addressing the needs of communities. So that's where convention empowers the communities that are practicing and bearing their intangible cultural heritage.
Oh, no, there are countries and cultures all over the world that have created or have been practicing certain rights, RITES, etc., over the years, and they may or may not be recognized or acknowledged. Some might be seen as fleeting. What's the difference as far as the Intangible Heritage Convention is concerned? What are you looking for? What are the elements that are key to convincing those who are adjudicating that, hey, no, this is truly an intangible cultural heritage?
Yes, well, first of all, we need to recognize that the convention is the legally binding instrument. So if the country ratifies the convention, there are obligations to implement, but also, of course, advantages, such as addressing the communities, nominating, the precious intangible heritage to the list of the convention, etc. But what I also want to say about the significance of the intangible cultural heritage and the development, because that's something that we have to take into account, and see the influence of the ICH in for example, food security, health, education, sustainable use of resources, but also disaster risk preparedness that is very important for the Caribbean and for Jamaica.
Mm-hmm. So whatever is being celebrated, whatever has been institutionalized, must have a level of sustainability about it.
Yes, absolutely. We are speaking about the intangible heritage elements, such as revivalism, that is already the nomination sent to UNESCO in the list of the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage. But there is also another list exists where we recognize the heritage that is under pressure or in danger of disappearing. So convention also provides this kind of opportunity to sustain and strengthening the communities and their heritage.
Mhm. And as far as Jamaica is concerned, what is the general timeline for a submission like the one made by Jamaica with respect to revivalism? What's the general timeline in which consideration is given to a submission?
Well, I would say it's quite a long process. Colleagues that are listening, the Jamaican colleagues, they know about, because they went through this process. Because submission of file, it's a tremendous work of the experts, of the governmental entities, and also the communities. Because first of all, we are speaking about the community's heritage.
Mm-hmm.
So to submit the file, it's not only textual information, but also the video, and also the community consent that you have to get prior to this kind of nomination. Mm-hmm. So and the timeline, yes, it's back and forth with perhaps some comments and so on. Yeah, it can take years, to be honest.
Yes, and it's. I think we had made a submission as well with respect to, I think, the Blue and Jonkro Mountains in Jamaica some time ago.
Yes, the Jonkro and Blue Mountains inscribed to the World Heritage List in 2015 as a mixed site. So it's mixed in terms of natural and cultural heritage.
Oh.
And the heritage of the people that are living within the site is also recognized there as an integral part of the site. Mm-hmm. And I would say also for Jamaica, back in 2008, the Maroon heritage of Moortown was also recognized and is now on the representative list of the ICH, along, of course, with the reggae music of Jamaica that was recognized in 2018.
Yes, indeed. I remember everybody singing One Love.
Absolutely. We were singing as well.
Indeed. Well, just a moment, please. Perhaps another question before we let you go. Yuri Peshkov, one moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45. The Caribbean Maritime University, an ISO certified institution, offers Bachelor of Science degrees in cruise shipping, logistics, engineering, marine tourism, port management, security administration, and management, among others. For further information, contact them 876-924-8150 or 924-8175 or email info@cmu.edu.jm. The following is a public service announcement from Power 106 FM. Jamaica. Each wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the added danger of variants, has brought unprecedented pressure on public resources. Our hospitals and healthcare workers at breaking point. Our economy battered, families in mourning, and our children face an uncertain future due to learning loss. In this race against COVID-19, we must stay in it to win it. We must continue using techniques that can help to beat the virus. Follow COVID-19 mitigation measures, including wearing masks, sanitizing, 6 feet of physical distance from others. And on this leg of our relay, we can win with vaccination. These safe and proven vaccines can make the difference against COVID-19. And now that vaccines are in supply, let's get vaccinated so we can get back on track and keep winning. The finish line against COVID-19 is in sight. And with true Jamaican determination, we can all have the victory. Brought to you by your friends at Power 106 FM.
So we ain't giving up now. We put up a fight. We got to be ready. Cause time's getting treated. Just that don't you
The education system has faced unprecedented challenges as a result of COVID-19, and online learning is now the order of the day. Tune into Power Talk with Simon Croskill this Friday, October 15, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we focus on the education system and discuss the issues affecting schools, concerns on the government's approach to education, and much more. This broadcast is brought to you by the Michael University College, Book Depot Limited, Monique College, Carlong Publishers Caribbean Limited, Elite Shipping and Courier Service, and the College of Agriculture, Science and Education CASE. That's education focused during Power Talk, this Friday, October 15, only on Power 106 FM.
The Weir Collective is hosting an online art auction October 17 from 2 to 5 p.m. Bid online on over 100 works of art by premier artists from Jamaica and the Caribbean diaspora. Proceeds will be used to rebuild a 120-year-old Spanish wall house in St. Elizabeth. Invest in art, our community, and our heritage. Visit weirauction.com to reserve your space and register for this exciting event. That's WARE auction.com. Creative Building Finishes Limited has sponsored the radio production of this event. Power Talk on Power 106 FM, finding solutions to the challenges we face in a globalized world. Power Talk, taking talk radio to another level. Join Dr. Herbert Gale on Mondays and Tuesdays and Simon Crosskill from Wednesday to Friday as they provide riveting analysis on the issues of the day and speak with stakeholders charged with driving innovation to move Jamaica forward. Tune in for innovative features designed to showcase local developments and highlight how the global issues of the 21st century are being addressed. That's the powerful pair, Dr. Herbert Gale and Simon Crosskill on Power Talk, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays, right here on Power 106 FM.
Both sides of the story.
This live broadcast of Both Sides of the Story in observance of Revival Heritage Day is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Both sides of the story.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on this special edition of Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. It's all about revivalism and learning so much more about this often maligned and otherwise discredited religion. We are happy to provide a platform to hear the story of revival and revivalism in Jamaica. That's the focus this afternoon, and we thank the Jamaica National Commission of UNESCO here in Jamaica for indeed UNESCO for being a part of this experience. In fact, we've been speaking with cultural specialist with UNESCO, Yuri Peshkov, on intangible heritage. We've been talking about the intangible heritage. As we wrap, Yuri Peshkov, what would you want to say to the Jamaican people listening right now, whether those who are members of the revival faith or those who are still curious and still wanting to learn more? How do we go about ensuring that those things regarded as intangible elements of our heritage are first of all identified as such, and secondly treated with the kind of respect and regard which is accorded to such intangibles?
Yes, thank you very much. I think there is one important message that I can bring to the listeners and to the Jamaican people and communities. When we speak about the intangible cultural heritage, it's a terminology, but maybe to understand it, we can say that it's a living heritage. So the heritage that is living with the communities and with people. It's part of our identity, part of our spirit.
Yes.
So, and to protect it and to safeguard and we need to transmit it. We need to transmit from one generation to another. As long as the bands in revival churches will perform through rituals, songs, music, dance, dress, and their rich symbolism. As long as we cook ackee and saltfish, yes, life and peace, and enjoy it.
Yes.
The traditions are alive. It's very important that we teach younger generation of our traditions, but nevertheless, the living heritage is something that is changing in time. So our children and the next generation will perhaps have other elements of their heritage, but they'll be still associated with the land where they born, with the community they were raised in, with their parents, with their ancestors. So it's a living heritage that we are all responsible for to safeguard.
And there's a bit of a balancing act, though, isn't there? Because it's a living heritage, so it means it is dynamic, it evolves. There are changes one way or another. But I would how do you reconcile that, the fact that it is dynamic and it evolves, passing from one generation to the other, with the need to preserve and maintain the substance of the intangible heritage? How do you weigh those two? Because some people will say, well, it used to be great, but it has been watered down. It's not the same, having been passed from one or two generations to other generations, and people missing some of the original elements. They're saying, well, it doesn't have this anymore, and we don't do that anymore, so it can't be the same. Is that a discussion that has to be had, you think, in communities across the country, to decide what we keep, what we let go, or how much of our heritage, our intangible heritage, to hold on to, as opposed to making adjustments, changes?
Wonderful to hear, because I think you are speaking and you are questioning in a very spirit of the convention.
Mm-hmm.
Because indeed the ICH evolves. I mean, it's not something that the monument we have, and it should be purely authentic. But the traditions are evolves. People are changing. Communities perhaps interacting. Some of the elements we can find somewhere else. Maybe preserved in their different state. But what is important, and I think you answered your question already,
yes,
is actually the intangible cultural heritage is something that communities recognize in the first instance. So it's not somebody, some researcher, for example, expert, coming and telling, oh, this is intangible heritage, this is not, or this is folklore. I mean, of course, we have the scientific knowledge about how it used to be and how it maintained. But this is something that communities recognize at the first instance, and that is that conception, that knowledge, that spirit empowers the communities, because they are bearers. But communities will need to be helped to safeguard. They need to know about the international instruments, and they need programs like this.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I am really happy that the Jamaica National Commission and the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, applied for the funding and secured the funding to have such activities to help communities to safeguard their heritage.
Where can we go to learn more about our intangible heritage, or intangible heritage in general, and related matters? Is there a website that we can find all the information that we need?
Well, there are various websites, of course, on the general UNESCO website. We have a dedicated webpage with many ICH elements that are exposed, and all kinds of information.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you will, along the program, you will speak to various experts, and there are depositories of such knowledge in Jamaica. Also, I can also recall a project that we implemented 2 years ago in Kingston for recognizing the communities and their heritage and how they contribute to economic development of the city as an urban structure. So yes, we did invited Trenchtown communities, Augusttown communities, and also Port Royal community to participate in that training and to learn about ICH, how it works, how UNESCO addresses, to be more empowered and confident in safeguarding their heritage.
Very good. Well done to you and the team at UNESCO. We thank you very much for spending some time with us on this afternoon's edition of Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. We're sure our listeners have learned even more than they knew before with respect to intangible heritage. Thank you very much, Yuri Peshkov.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be with you today.
Same here. Take care. Culture specialist Yuri Peshkov from UNESCO, sharing with us the details of the Intangible Heritage Convention and the importance to sustainable development. As we mentioned, Jamaica ratified the UNESCO Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage in 2010. And Jamaica's revivalism has been submitted for recognition to UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity last year, 2020. There's more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3 o'clock.
The Ware Collective is hosting an online art auction. Bid online on over 100 works of art by premier artists from Jamaica and the diaspora. Tune in to Power 106 FM this Sunday, October 17, from 2 to 5 p.m. from the Grosvenor Gallery, 1 Grosvenor Terrace, Kingston, for a live broadcast from the event. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ware Collective and Creative Finishes.
Both sides of the story.
This live broadcast of Both Sides of the Story in observance of Revival Heritage Day is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Both sides of the story.
Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Pull up on your victory.
It's all about revivalism here on Both Sides of the Story. The story of revivalism this afternoon. It's in terms of a definition, it's regarded as an Afro-Jamaican folk religion. Revivalism, an Afro-Jamaican folk religion, which was recognized after the Great Revival, in inverted commas, which took place in Jamaica between 1860 and 1861. During that time, there were what has been characterized as outpourings of African manifestation in mission houses all over Jamaica. And all of that essentially resulted in the establishment, the setting up of a Jamaican New World religion, which included elements from different worldviews that were reflective of the people's experience on a continuum between the poles of Europe and Africa. And we thank Dr. Maria Smith for the body of work she has done to cause us to be better informed on the subject of revivalism. We're going to get back to some of that information. In fact, we're going to speak with a gentleman who can tell us much more about revivalism. He is Bishop Robert Clark of Watttown, and Watttown holds a significant place, a special place in the revival religion. And in fact, there is a revival council as well, as we understand it. Bishop Clark will tell us more. Bishop Robert Clark, good afternoon. How are you, sir?
I'm blessed. How are you? Thanks for asking.
I am fine, thanks. Good to talk with you. Thank you so much for joining us here on both sides of the story as we delve into the story of revival and revivalism here in Jamaica. What's the difference between the two, and whether we say revival as opposed to revivalism, as opposed to revivalist? Just help us to correctly apply those designations, please.
Well, there's almost difference there. Revivalism, we Jamaican call revivalism, it's revival.
Sorry, would love to hear you better than we're hearing you now. I wonder if you could help us with your connection. Hold the line. I'm going to ask the engineer to speak with you off air and see if we can get a better connection, because we really want to hear. We are anxious to get as much information as we can to satisfy the appetite of our listeners and viewers all over the world, because a lot of mystery in the history of Jamaica. There's a lot of mystery around revivalism, and that mystery, not necessarily created by the members of the religion, but people create stories and thoughts about the religion that perhaps doesn't even exist, or if it does, it's a lack of understanding of the elements that make up the religion, just like any other religion in the world. And so we're anxious to help in that regard. Sammy Jo is online. She says, here listening via Radio Garden and watching via Facebook from Manchester in the UK. Welcome, Sammy Jo in Manchester, England. Good to have you tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Let's try for that connection again with Bishop Robert Clark. Bishop Clark?
Yes, please.
That's better. That's a little better. Right. So you were just outlining revivalist, revivalism, revival. Just
as I was saying that there's a difference between revivalism and revivalist, because in Jamaica you don't say revivalist.
Yes.
But when revivalism, we don't call revivalist.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So the rain. We have to blame the rain for the connection. But we'll try our best to go through. What sparked the revivalist flame inside of you, Bishop Clark? How did you come to be a revivalist?
I was really called by the Lord. Converted. I went to a wayside meeting, evangelistic meeting, and so I got the calling there as the Lord speak to yourself and going on, and I got the calling.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right. Sorry, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
And from this, I start to go to the revival church.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the era we live in, that revival was they call the mother of the team. So that we both.
Yes. All right, hold. I'm so sorry. We really have to try, and I don't know if there's another line, or maybe if you could adjust your position, go close to a window or a door or some kind of opening where you are, to see if the signal is any better. Because as I keep saying, we really want everybody to hear what you're saying, because this is a learning experience for all of us. And we're let's see if we can, what else we can do in terms of getting a better connection. And while we try to do that, let's give you a bit more in terms of information. And again, thanks to Dr. Maria Smith for the information, the wealth of information that she has shared with us, to allow us to be able to find our way in terms of the navigating revivalism. It's revivalism is celebrated by revival bands through the performance of rituals, songs, music, dance, dress, and color symbolism. So everything has its place. Every element that we see, hear, or participate in has its own significance. So there are the revival bands through the performance of the celebration of revivalism is celebrated by these revival bands through the performance of rituals, songs, music, dance, dress, and color. So, for example, like blue, like the blue I'm wearing now, the blue, this kind of a blue, and you might have red, blue, red, white, very colorful. And so color symbolism is key. It's integrated into a colorful and rich symbolic system described as the revival iconography. Serious business for those people who think otherwise. So let's try again. Let's check the connection again. Bishop Clark, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Right. Well, we'll see if we can get through this interview the best. Let's do the best we can. But we know we've been having serious challenges with the telecoms companies for some time, and that's part of it too. Right. So you were explaining. So you attended a service, a revival service?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then going there, was convinced by the Spirit of God, and then I took the call.
Right. And how long ago was that?
1975.
Are you kidding me? That's the year I was born. Oh, wow. Whoa. That's a long time. Whoa. Yes. What does it mean to you to be a revivalist? What are some of the ways in which you practice your faith? And well, yes, go ahead.
Well, that's one of the ways we practice, Lord.
Say that again?
I didn't get what you said.
Oh, no, I was just trying to get an idea of some of the ways, some of the things that you would do as a bishop. You're a bishop. Some of the things that you would do in practicing revivalism.
Really don't practice. We don't really practice. We go with we preach just like the preacher preach.
Yes.
We manifest in the spirit. If the authority given to us by the spirit, we prophesy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so we keep meeting on the wayside as we just said a while ago. And these are the way we carry on as a revival.
Mm-hmm. Got you. There's a significance when it comes on to what town. Can can you share with us what is so significant, what is so special about Watttown as far as revivalism is concerned in Jamaica?
Well, Watttown becomes the head of all revival, as you have noticed there.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 times per year we go for special service.
Three times per year?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That is March, June, and October.
Mm-hmm.
And although we have service every day in Watttown, but special service we have 3 times per year, we call it 3 quarters for the year.
And who else is involved? It's not just the people of Watttown who are involved 3 times a year, no?
No, the whole Jamaica, and we have also from abroad.
From abroad as well? Mm.
Yes, we have from America, we have Canada, we have other countries coming.
Mm-hmm. I see.
And so if you come to Watttown in the first quarter, you meet up people from the 14 parts of Jamaica.
All right. So the 3 times a year that would constitute 3 quarters.
3 quarters, yes.
Right. And what's the significance of that? Or did you just choose some dates, or is there a significance to it?
No, there is significance to it because the travel life was it is written in Deuteronomy that the children of Israel will be going to them 3 times per year for special service.
Oh.
So
right. And would it be accurate to refer to revivalism as Afro-Christianity?
Well, I would say yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. And what can you tell us now about how the broader community has over the years responded to the presence and the spreading of the revivalism doctrine in the communities in which revivalist churches are established?
Well, according to what you have just said, if you notice that the young people within all the communities now gravitated to the revival movement, even more than the other churches. They love the movement. They understand that we are from the African descendants.
Sorry. Hold a moment. Want to hear more? We're past the break. Sorry. One moment, please.
And he maketh me to lie down in green grass.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:16.
Welcome to the new dimension in eye care, the Optical Zone, offering exceptionally comfortable eyewear. We fill prescriptions and do eye examinations. This complete optical store is conveniently located at Shop 14, York Plaza, Halfway Tree. Telephone 929-8656. The Optical Zone, providing vision for life.
The Weir Collective is hosting an online art auction October 17 from 2 to 5 p.m. Bid online on over 100 works of art by premier artists from Jamaica and the Caribbean diaspora. Proceeds will be used to rebuild a 120-year-old Spanish wall house in St. Elizabeth. Invest in art, our community, and our heritage. Visit weirauction.com to reserve your space and register for this exciting event. That's WARE auction.com. Creative Building Finishes Limited has sponsored the radio production of this event.
The education system has faced unprecedented challenges as a result of COVID-19, and online learning is now the order of the day. Tune into Power Talk with Simon Croskill this Friday, October 15, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we focus on the education system and discuss the issues affecting schools, concerns on the government's approach to education, and much more. This broadcast is brought to you by the Michael University College, Book Depot Limited, Monique College, Carlong Publishers Caribbean Limited, Elite Shipping and Courier Service, and the College of Agriculture, Science and Education case. That's education focused during Power Talk this Friday, October 15, only on Power 106 FM.
Both sides of the story.
This live broadcast of Both Sides of the Story in observance of Revival Heritage Day is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Both sides of the story.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. The focus is on revivalism, that Jamaican religion, Jamaica's first folk religion. And we are providing a platform to create a greater level of awareness with respect to this Jamaican folk religion. Online, we've been learning some more about revivalism and how it has evolved and perhaps still is evolving. Would you say, Bishop Clark? It's an evolving religion, or would you say it's a long established religion that has stayed true to its roots? Bishop?
Yeah, and you can underline the word long established religion.
Yes. Yes. So then, what can you tell us with respect? So where are we now? This is October. So how you have had those 2 quarters already. You were telling us about the biblical reason why you have 3 quarters, why you have 3 times a year when the members of the revivalist faith from all over the country gather in what town?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. As I said, it will bring us back to the Deuteronomy. Tell us that 3 times a year the children of Israel go up to Jerusalem for special worship. And I said to you, although we have service every day in what town, but 3 times per year we have to go for special worship where all of the revivalists gather together for this special service.
Yes. And are there, outside of that gathering 3 times a year, what other elements of revivalism, of the revivalist church in Jamaica, do you regard as being unique, as being only in a revivalist setting would you have these things as opposed to other religions?
Well, the standard that we set and the standard that we go for, and what we live for, what we decide to live for, and the type of message that we preach across, holiness, which we stand for. So you notice that the young people gravitated to these messages, and they love the standard that we set for the revival.
So at a time when some churches are sharing with the rest of us that the numbers for the young people are dwindling, are getting smaller, you are saying that you're finding more young people gravitating towards the revivalist church?
Yes.
Okay.
You should really take a walk in the town. And you go on YouTube, you'll see that for yourself.
Why do you think that is so? Why? Why do you think that is so?
Well, in my community in St. Ann, where I am, and the churches that we have here, if you go there every Sunday, we have full church and full young people. Sunday school, young people meeting, and we can attest to that.
I see. And how does one move up in the revivalist church, so to speak, to be referred to, for example, as a bishop? And are there levels before one can become or be made a bishop?
Yes, we have different levels that you have to move up from.
Mm-hmm.
You are in the church, and the leader or the senior bishop notices the way you perform and what you perform and the standard of living you have.
Mm-hmm.
So then we can recommend you, and the way you put forth the word, so we can recommend you to a higher level.
What are some of the rites, rites, that are practiced? I use the word practice not in terms of sports, but
Yes.
in terms of some of the intangible parts of the revivalism heritage. Some of the things you normally do as part of your religious experience.
One, we preach the word.
So it's the same the same Bible, King James.
King James Bible we use.
And
we have, that we go by the secret songs and soda or the redemption songbook.
Mm-hmm. Signal is fluctuating. We have lost.
And any other spiritual book that you read, to back us up. So we go by the anointing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
As the Lord bless you, so we go by the anointing.
I see. And there's there's a lot of singing and dancing, as far as I'm aware of. That's a but it's not just any singing and dancing. There is a high level of spirituality to it, isn't there?
Yes, very very high level of spirituality. Very high level.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not only anything you do coming and go.
Yes.
Yes, we use the drum, we use the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times when the anointing come, we use the drum. We just rejoice in the spirit and manifest as the Lord bless us.
And how do the bands fit into the worship space? How does that work?
The band, the neighboring what?
No, because I've been reading about the bands, in terms of
I get what you are saying. There's a special anointing when the band avail. We have a place in the church we call it seal.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Holy Ghost descends, then the leader will pick a number and then we travail it. If the Holy Ghost only send for that, we don't really do that. It must be an hour of deliverance in the service.
Oh, I see.
So the hour of deliverance, the time for deliverance. Somebody is to be delivered to the authority of the Holy Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
So to be deliverance.
Got you. Oh, we're learning so much this afternoon, Bishop. So your day of do you have a designated day of worship? Is it Sunday?
Yes, Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I request second Monday fasting.
Every second Monday fasting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any other observances or rites, rites, that you engage in as part of the whether?
Yes, we do also the convention.
Okay.
And we do wayside meeting and also house visit.
Mm-hmm. I see. Well, we and what about the way? How do the people of your community, or not just in Watttown, but generally, when people find out that you are a revivalist, or they see you at work, so to speak, what's the general feedback? What's the general general level of acceptance and recognition that you get from the broader community?
Man, that is a wonderful question. Thank you for asking. When I step out there, myself in particular,
yes,
and I heard that some class is coming, I mean, they are cooking and stop cook. Because, I mean, within the community, people love the revival movement and they love revival. And even if they are Baptist or Pentecost or Church of God, when they hear that revival is coming on the wayside to a wayside meeting, man, you can look for that. Wonderful support.
Very good. We're happy to hear that. Well, here we are at a time when Jamaica about 11 years ago ratified the UNESCO Convention for the safeguarding of the intangible cultural heritage. 11 years late, 10 years after that, we had which was last year, Jamaica's revivalism being submitted for recognition to UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. In other words, world recognition of a homegrown religion, a Jamaican folk religion. So Jamaica has submitted for recognition to UNESCO. How much of a difference is that likely to make to the revivalism movement, not just here in Jamaica, but globally?
I think we make a big difference because we were more recognized. Because in the previous time that we have passed through, people did not recognize us. You know, they always give us some names which was describing us. Mm-hmm. But this is what the trend is now. Then we know we're more recognized and we're more accepted.
Yes, which is very, very important.
Very important. Mm-hmm. Because if I should say,
sorry, can you hold it for a moment and remember what you're going to say when we come back after the break, please?
You contribute directly to Jamaica's national development when you pay your customs duties. Let's all do our part in keeping the wheels of our economy turning. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:30. Our family and friends are a big part of who we are. And when it comes to keeping you connected to them, Grace Kennedy Money Services Western Union makes it safer and easier. Now friends and family overseas can use the Western Union app or westernunion.com to send money directly to your bank account without leaving home. Receive a Western Union money transfer directly into your bank account with a direct-to-bank service. Register online at gkmsonline.com and share your banking details with your sender so you don't have to leave home to collect.
Why, this lockdown, you see? Me miss my Sunday cleaner, you know.
So, Diane, you never know you could have get the Sunday Gleaner past Saturday.
Chef, what you saying to me?
Get your Sunday Gleaner this Saturday. Something for everyone. Seeking employment? Grab the Sunday Gleaner. Looking to buy and sell? Get the Sunday Gleaner. More features and new stories. The Sunday Gleaner. Available on Saturday at newsstands or your favorite vendors island-wide. For Sunday deliveries, call or WhatsApp 876-419-5077 or 876-412-3915.
Thank God Jeff tell me about this. Me nah leave supermarket and no buy me Sunday Gleaner.
The Gleaner, where life unfolds.
Both sides of the story.
This live broadcast of Both Sides of the Story in observance of Revival Heritage Day is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Both sides of the story.
Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Victory in Jesus. Pull up on your victory. I say the Lord is my shepherd. I shall know. And He maketh me to lie down in green grasses. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Victory in Jesus. Pull up on upon your victory. I know the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Victory in Jesus. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Victory in Jesus. Pull up on your victory. Oh, say the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. For the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. I know the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Pull up on your victory. Victory in Jesus. Victory in Jesus. Pull up on your victory. I say the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Listening to Sister Pat, the Lord is my shepherd, and this is it's a special selection for this afternoon, because this afternoon we're focusing on revivalism and all the attendant elements involved in cementing one's cultural heritage as being of an intangible, valuable, significant part of one's culture. And this is thanks to the Jamaica National Commission of UNESCO in Jamaica, and also the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. And so, Bishop Clark, will give you an opportunity just to finish up what you were saying when we took the break, as we get ready to go to another guest.
Yes, I will say that when we recognize revival in Jamaica, it gives us a different grade, because people like in my diocese, you have nurses, you have doctors, you have accountants, you have teachers, you have principals. And so when people recognize, they will stay with us. But, if it's not well recognized, pride will take over. So I go for that.
Great. Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. We want to wish you and your entire church family in Watttown, and indeed all of Jamaica and the diaspora, all the very best. Well done, Bishop Clark.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure. Take care. Bishop Robert Clark in Watttown, which is a very significant place in the revivalism religion. There's a gentleman who has been waiting in the wings, as patient as Job. Job would be very proud of him. He is Dr. H. Patton, and he has decided to stay up to speak with us because it's night time. I believe it's about 23 minutes to 10 o'clock in the night in the UK right now. Right, Dr. Patton? Good evening to you, UK time. Good afternoon, Jamaica time. Thanks for your patience and understanding. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And good evening to you, sir, and to all the listeners. And I just want to thank you for inviting me to be part of this conversation and this discussion.
It's a pleasure to have you join us in that regard. Dr. Patton, you're a scholar. You've studied Afro religious spirituality. Why? How did that come about?
Okay, well, in terms of the studying, I've always been involved in the arts. You know, whether it was a painting and sculpture. Also, I used to do choreography and things within the traditional African dance practices. So I trained in Ghana with the National Dance Company out there, and then in Jamaica now I used to work with and mix with the traditional folklorists and people like Malika Capo Reynolds, the patriarch father of the Revival Church, and then Imogene Queenie Kennedy, who was a well-respected Kumina queen, and then also with a number of the other specialists, such as Miss Barrett, who used to do the integrated song and dance in terms of the ring games and so forth. And so I've always had an interest in the traditional practices because I've always had an interest in our connection back to Africa.
Yes. And you've been to revival churches in the United Kingdom and here in Jamaica. Any noticeable differences in terms of the rites, RITES, that are performed in the services?
Well, the thing is, you won't find that much of a difference between them because they try and maintain the traditions from home. And so therefore you find that a lot of the bishops and the pastors, etc., they will travel back to Jamaica on a regular basis so that they know what is happening home and they can bring that back to the UK here, so that the experience of a revivalist in Jamaica here is as authentic as can be.
Mm-hmm. And how from your vantage point, how are members of the revivalist faith viewed or regarded in the communities in which you've visited?
Okay, well, it depends on who you're talking to. Mm-hmm. Those who have who fully comprehend what revivalism is about and the African connection and the fact that it has that spiritual connection, they will accept it and take it as a faith and a practice within its own right. Those who do not have an understanding of it, they will look at it and many of them might be fearful of it because they mix it up with them like obeah, and so therefore they feel fearful of it. But also you find that some of them they just use terms that they've heard other people in the past use. That they'll just call them the Rapid Church, and they don't actually make the distinctions between the different types of church and what they're doing. Although there are many, because over here in the UK, in London alone, you have areas like Tooting and Brixton, Lewisham, Catford, Bermondsey, all of these locations where you have revival churches in Dalston, but also further afield in Birmingham and Bristol and those places as well, you will find revival practices.
Oh, sounds fairly widespread.
That's right, and also we can't forget that in back in the day, in Caribbean Focus 1986. At that time, Malika Kappa Reynolds attended the Commonwealth Institute Holland Park um, event, which was an event where they brought over artists from all over the Caribbean to exhibit their traditional practices, and so Capo came over as part of the contingent from Jamaica, and he was joined by Imogene Queenie Kennedy, the Kumna Queen, and then you also had some of the Motown Maroon, and then I think Sugar Belly and a rumba band came over as well. And so at that time, the BBC actually, I think it was it the BBC, I think it was, who actually did a whole documentary. They recorded a whole documentary around Capo and the revival practice. And so that introduced it to the whole country. And so through that program, the arena program, revivalism was introduced to the whole of the UK. And Jamaicans who had not had the opportunity to learn about revivalism when they were in Jamaica, they got that opportunity to learn about it then. And it's only a pity that program has never been repeated.
And finally, what does it mean to you that Jamaica's revivalism has been submitted for recognition to UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity?
I think it's a very important step because revivalism has influenced popular culture so greatly. If we look at you find aspects of the revival dance in the dance hall. So even dance movements like the bogle and chaka chaka, summer bounce, take away yourself, all of these have the resonances of revival in them. When you look at the reggae bounce itself, it has the resonances of revival in it. But also, when you look, it is still very much present in the Pentecostal church.
Hold it right there at Pentecostal church. Let's pick up that point and wrap when we come back from the break, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45.
The Ware Collective is hosting an online art auction. Bid online on over 100 works of art by premier artists from Jamaica and the diaspora. Tune in to Power 106 FM this Sunday, October 17, from 2 to 5 p.m. from the Grosvenor Gallery, 1 Grosvenor Terrace, Kingston, for a live broadcast from the event. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ware Collective and Creative Finishes.
The Ware Collective is hosting an online art auction October 17 from 2 to 5 p.m. Bid online on over 100 works of art by premier artists from Jamaica and the Caribbean diaspora. Proceeds will be used to rebuild a 120-year-old Spanish wall house in St. Elizabeth. Invest in art, our community, and our heritage. Visit wareauction.com to reserve your space and register for this exciting event. That's WARE auction.com. Creative Building Finishes Limited has sponsored the radio production of this event.
Both sides of the story.
This live broadcast of Both Sides of the Story in observance of Revival Heritage Day is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Both sides of the story.
I know the Lord.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. We were just about wrapping up our conversation with Dr. H. Patton, a scholar of Afro-religious spirituality. And he continues to lend his knowledge to individuals, institutions, organizations all over the world, which help to contribute to the accurate narrative when it comes on to revivalism. Right. So you were responding to the fact that Jamaica's revivalism has been submitted for recognition to UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. You got to Pentecostal. You were just outlining some of the moves, the dance moves, etc., which we see manifesting themselves in the popular culture space, or are in fact, or have in fact originated in the revivalism church.
Yes, yes, that's right. And so we see it within the popular culture, revival movement. We even hear it in how the songs are presented and how people even talk. Sometimes when you listen to some of the DJs and the guttural sound that they will bring out, it's coming from out of that as well. But then also you have within Pentecostalism, many of the songs that I grew up with as a youth, growing up in the Pentecostal church, is only later on I get to realize many of them were revival songs. And then, you know, the crossover, because in the UK here, we still continue many of the practices. So we still keep, you know, Dead Yard, the 9-night observances and things, and you have that strong revival influence in that. And the ritual paraphernalia, some of them manifest themselves within these type of spaces. So it's up that you will be hosting this program, because both sides of the stories is enabling both sides of the Atlantic to share how Jamaican culture is permeating popular culture and keeping its resonance alive. And so when you look at revivalism, revival is the thing that enables us to drive forward, but it also enables us, as you know, Dubois talked about the double consciousness, looking forward and looking back at the same time.
Sankofa.
And that's what, yes, Sankofa also. Yes, the idea of Sankofa, looking forward and looking back, but also the double consciousness, knowing how others view us. So therefore, we start to hide our practices within other dresses. So we dress up, and you know, it looks like if you're going to Pentecostal church, and then underneath it you find that it's a revival church in the heart of Brixton that many people don't know about.
Fascinating. Thank you so much, Dr. Patton. Sorry about the technicalities earlier on in terms of connecting. Pleasure to have been able to afford you the opportunity to share your perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me, and just a big shout out to everybody in Jamaica who all of you who are continuing our practices and making sure that the culture continues to live, continues to breathe.
Well said. Thank you, Dr. H. Patton, scholar of Afro-religious spirituality. And now we're going to, so that was the UK, where it's 9 minutes to 10 o'clock in the night. Let's go to Canada right now, where it's 9 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Bishop Rupert Bourne has been waiting patiently. Again, some technicalities there. Happy that those were sorted out, and we now have Bishop Bourne online. Bishop, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for your patience and understanding.
You're most welcome. It's my pleasure being here, and thanks for having me on.
A pleasure having you on board. So when did you receive your calling, Bishop?
Since the age of 14 years old.
Mm-hmm. And it,
and I'm way past 50 now, so it's quite a number of years.
Yes. What was it that piqued your interest and your curiosity? I mean, as a youngster, there might have been one particular reason why you attended or decided to gravitate towards towards the revivalism church experience.
Well,
yes.
basically, I would say I was basically born in the revival church. You know, as many Jamaican or many persons of West Indian heritage, you know, would grow with their grandmother. My grandmother was a leaderess, or she was basically a leader for a revival church. And so living with her, I basically had no choice but to attend church with her.
Yes.
And, you know, I got gravitated into it. I heard the word preached and I accepted the word, right? And I continued following, and the rest is history.
Yes, indeed. And
You know.
it has taken you places, hasn't it?
It has. It has taken me different places across the globe. Where you know, under the church diocese that I lead, you know, there's churches in England, other parts of Canada, in St. Vincent, in St. Lucia. You know, it does take me places, which and I'm very proud to be a revivalist.
And what has the welcome always been and still is warm wherever in the world you have visited?
It has been very warm, yes, but like in everything else, you know, for persons who don't have a full understanding of who we are as revivalists, because sad to say that there are still some areas of the Christian community that still doesn't recognize us or fully see us as a part of Christendom or a part of the kingdom of God. So, you know, we have to really step out a little bit more to get this recognition so folks can understand that, listen, even though we are somewhat dressed differently, you know, our colors, turbans, and so forth, you know, we're still children of God. And we have to ensure that they realize this, that we are not just revivalists by name, but we are also a part of the kingdom of God.
And how's the ministry doing, generally speaking, Jamaica, Canada, elsewhere, insofar as they fall within your jurisdiction?
The ministry is doing very well, I must say. It's doing very well. And you know, as I said again, I'm proud to be a revivalist. And wherever I go, I declare who I am, you know, I portray who I am, because it's within me. And it's, you know, I'll be a revivalist until I die. But the ministry is very well. It's growing. And as I heard Bishop Clark spoke earlier in regards to young people, you know, being a part of the ministry, it grows and it continues to grow. And more young people continues to come and to be a part of it, because they realize it's a part of our heritage, and so they gravitate and really want to be a part of it.
Yes. And is there, as we discuss and highlight and celebrate Jamaica's revivalism and the submission for recognition to UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity, is there anything, any aspect, any element, whether within the revival community or in the broader community, that you would like to see addressed one way or another? Any outstanding matters or concerning matters?
Well, the one important thing, and I must say that, you know, it's very good for us to be, you know, be presented to UNESCO to get this sort of recognition. It's good for the revival faith, and as others call it, revivalism. It's very good for us. However, my take on this all is basically looking for the Jamaican government to recognize the revival church or the revival faith as a denomination or religion, seeing that we are the only Jamaican-born faith, regardless of how we're looked at as Afro-Christian or Afro-Jamaican or Afrocentric. You know, I'm looking for Jamaica and the Jamaican government or whichever body that is there, that the Ministry of Culture, to push, even as we are being presented to UNESCO, to be recognized as an intangible cultural heritage towards humanity, but also give us this recognition as the Church of God and as the Pentecostal and as the Adventist, as they all have this recognition as a denomination. We as a revivalist also is looking for that, and that's, if we get that as recognition, it would really, really put us in the forefront and put us at a place where we can be more comfortable.
Yes. And what will it take, do you think, to cause that to happen? Lobbying?
Well, somewhat, yes. I would say lobbying and more coming together of us as revivalists in general. You know, yes, there's a counseling process coming from our town, but I also believe that us as a people that belongs to the faith needs to pool our resources together more. And have one voice that speaks, so that we can get that level of recognition that we're looking for.
What's the crossover like in a place like Canada in terms of native Canadians? Well, maybe not necessarily. Well, Canadians. Let's just say Canadians. In terms of Canadians making that conscious decision to join the Revival Church, as opposed to any other church. How is that going?
Well, it's basically because it's a Jamaican religion, if I may say.
Yes.
It's more geared and it draws more persons from a Jamaican background, and but also from persons who are born here in Canada, of Jamaican parentage, and also from different islands, because in the other islands you have the Spiritual Baptist, which is very close to us as revivalists. And so in my church, I have persons that is from other places. Persons who are born in England, persons who are born here in Canada, persons who are born outside of Jamaica, that is a part of the faith. So it's pretty good here. And it's pretty much accepted.
Good. Well, thank you very much. You've given us quite an outlook from your perspective, Bishop Bourne. Again, thank you for your patience and understanding as you waited to join us. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bless you too. Bishop Rupert Bourne, with responsibility for the diocese, taking in countries across the diaspora, giving us his perspective as we mark Revival Heritage Day. More in a moment.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock. The Caribbean Maritime University, an ISO certified institution, offers Bachelor of Science degrees in cruise shipping, logistics, engineering, marine tourism, port management, security administration, and management, among others. For further information, contact them 876-924-8150 or 924-8175, or email info@cmu.edu.jm.
The educational system has faced unprecedented challenges as a result of COVID-19, and online learning is now the order of the day. Tune in to Power Talk with Simon Crosskill this Friday, October 15, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we focus on the educational system and discuss issues affecting schools, concerns on what the government has put in place, and much more. This broadcast is brought to you by the Michael University College, Monique College, Book Depot Limited, Harlung Publishers Caribbean Limited, Elite Shipping and Courier Service, the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, and the College of Agriculture, Science and Education Case. That's Power Talk with an educational focus this Friday, October 15, only on Power 106 FM. Tune in every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. to midday for your Legal Corner with Dahlia Walker Huntington during Power Talk on Power 106 FM. You can call our numbers 876-922-4112-5. The text and WhatsApp line is 876-279-8598. You can also send an email at yourlegalcorner106@gmail.com. Join Your Legal Corner for all matters in relation to immigration to the United States. Here Dahlia offer great legal advice on your immigration queries and concerns. concerns. Learn about the filing process, when to file, and how to prepare for the move. That's Your Legal Corner, 11:30 to midday, every Thursday right here on Power 106 FM.
Both sides of the story.
This live broadcast of Both Sides of the Story in observance of Revival Heritage Day is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Both sides of the story.
Hold up on your victory, Christian. Hold up on your victory, Christian. Hold up on your victory, Christian. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Hold up on your victory, Christian. I say the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. And He maketh me to lie down in green grasses. Hold up on your victory, Christian. Hold up on your victory, Christian. Hold up on your victory, Christian. Victory in Jesus. Amen. Victory in Jesus.
Que ora es en espagnol, son las 4:03. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:03. Ciencia, tidien le si dien ling si fen. Well, first it was 4:03. It's now 4 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now's a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. It's a very special edition of Both Sides of the Story this afternoon as we feature the Revival Church in Jamaica, the Revival Religion in Jamaica, Jamaica's first folk religion. And we're doing this at a time when we're marking Heritage Week and National Heroes Day coming up on Monday, etc. So it's a part of our heritage and a key part of Jamaica's intangible heritage, as Jamaica's revivalism has been submitted for recognition to UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Let's hear now from PhD student Kurt Henry. Hi, Kurt Henry. How are you? Hello? Did we lose him? All right, let's try and reconnect with PhD student Kurt Henry on the subject of Afro-Jamaican spirituality. And perhaps, well, we'll hear more in terms of his pursuits academically. The importance of dress in revivalism is another area we want to wrap with PhD student Kurt Henry about. Again, some people have all kinds of perspective on the dress in revivalism, what you wear in revivalism, and we want to touch on that. So let's say welcome once again to PhD student Kurt Henry. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I am fine, thanks. What is the subject of your PhD pursuit?
So, my study is on revival dress. I'm looking at the significance and the meanings of what revivalists wear. And not only what they wear, but how they use the emblems on their bodies within specific rituals and ceremonies.
And with all the other possible topics you could have chosen, Kurt Henry, why have you chosen to look at the importance of dress in revivalism?
I get this question all the time. Well, let me say that I grew up with my grandaunt. She was a revivalist, and I would always admire the ways in which she would dress to go to church. the kind of reverence that she has in terms of her clothing. You know, whenever she would have a headache, she would pull for her red turban, and a few minutes after that, she would say that the headache is gone. And you would always know when messengers or spirits are present because she would pull for particular turbans and so on. And just my own fascination around the rituals that she would practice in terms of what she wears and how she wears those particular uniforms and turbans to church. So that allowed me to become even more interested in the ways in which revivalists dress. And at the university level, I started to ask particular questions, and that led me into the study that I'm doing now.
Now we know. Hold it right there. Let's welcome one of my former lecturers at the University of the West Indies, Professor Clinton Hutton. Good afternoon, Professor Hutton. How are you?
How are you doing? I am good, sir. I'm good.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
It must please you that we have students like Kurt Henry on the line here, who has chosen what some people would refer to as a non-traditional area of study as far as his PhD is concerned. It means that the tradition is continuing, Professor Clinton Hutton, with greats like you having led the way and still involved even at this stage, that the youngsters are inquiring and interrogating a lot of the things that we've been taking for granted.
Yes, and it can only get better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's important that we understand our roots and the basis in our roots for our existence today.
Yes.
What are the different types of materials provided by ancestry, by ancestral legacy, for us to use for development?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, revival played a very important role in a number of ways in Jamaica. One, the way we see decoration is a very important way. Mm-hmm. Two, its role in the framing of our music aesthetic and style. Mm-hmm. So revival is very, very important. Yes. And many of the things that have become global recognized cultural influence in the world from Jamaica came out of those traditions. So we can't talk about reggae, ska, the mastery of Mali. We can't talk about the mastery of Lee Scratch Perry without understanding the role that revival played, in particular with Lee Scratch Perry, and the way they create stuff. And therefore, the modern expressions of our people, of our artists, have their roots in ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's very important to understand.
Yes. And how much work have you been able to do in that area, or are there areas of your work which at different points would have been punctuated by revivalism?
Oh yes, for sure, a lot. Mm-hmm. But let me say first and foremost that I have been researching revival for 21 years now.
Mm.
I have taken thousands, literally thousands, probably tens of thousands of photos on revival rituals. So revival, apart from going to many, many different rituals of revival across Jamaica, I have, by studying revival, it has shaped my appreciation for ancestry, as well as an appreciation for art forms today that have been informed by revival aesthetic, by revival philosophy and styles, and so on. And the importance they have, not just for spirituality, which is important in and of itself, but revival itself played a very important role in the issue of healing. I mean, the whole set of herbal medicine that we have today is revival. Revival brought it to us from earlier tradition that we generically call Nile. So revival is important, and by studying it, there are deeper understanding that you can come to, even though revival has been reviled and people have to mark themselves, practitioners. Revival has played a monumental role in the what I call the existential complex of Jamaica.
Yes, indeed. Very well put, Professor Hutton. Before we wrap the segment, Kurt Henry, how do you plan to deal with the all the questions that will come, and you have been dealing with them anyway about your choice? Is there a plan on your part to take it beyond just pursuing a PhD?
Thank you for that question. Very interesting question. In fact, my love for revivalism, which has led to my study of the movement, deals a lot with even my own spiritual calling, to the movement, which later led to my identity or identifying with the movement. After the PhD, I plan to continue working, studying and researching the movement because, as Professor Hutton mentioned earlier, there are a lot of areas, untouched, untapped areas within revivalism that needs to be further explored in further understanding what the religion is about, and for us to come to a greater appreciation for the religion. So a lot of work needs to be done. And let me say that researchers even outside of Jamaica, I have a friend, she recently completed her PhD study at Harvard University, where she looked at the transnational or transatlantic cultures around revivalism. So yes, a lot of young people are now involved in revivalism, and a lot of young scholars are coming up with an interest in studying the religion.
It's a classic case of watch this space, and we'll be watching. Kurt Henry, thank you so much. Professor Hutton, what a pleasure and a privilege to have you join us as well this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Good to talk to you, my friend.
Thank you.
All the best. Take care.
All the best to you too.
You too, Professor Clinton Hutton and Kurt Henry, a PhD student on revivalism. That's the subject. That's the story on today's edition of Both Sides of the Story.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15. Waiting on your receivables. Waiting to purchase raw materials to fulfill your next order. Waiting to get paid for goods already sold. 60 days, 90 days, invoices way past due. What if you could be insured for up to 85% of your domestic and foreign receivables? So that if you don't get paid on time, your biggest priority, your business, will not have to wait. Trade credit insurance. Insurance worth having. Credit without waiting. Exim Bank. By helping businesses, we save lives and livelihoods.
The Whale Collective is hosting an online art auction October 17 from 2 to 5 p.m. Bid online on over 100 works of art by premier artists from Jamaica and the Caribbean diaspora. Proceeds will be used to rebuild a 120-year-old Spanish wall house in St. Elizabeth. Invest in art, our community, and our heritage. Visit whaleauction.com to reserve your space and register for this exciting event. That's WARE auction.com. Creative Building Finishes Limited has sponsored the radio production of this event.
Don't waste time trying to fill prescriptions. Community Meds Pharmacy makes it easy for you. We have the only drive-through pharmacy in Portmore. Get your blood pressure, sugar, cholesterol, HIV, pregnancy, and other tests done. Open Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday and public holidays, 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. Community Meds Pharmacy, Lot 5, Congreve Park, Hellshire Main Road. Telephone 740-4962. That's 740-4962. We are convenient and affordable.
Introducing the Gleaner North American Branded Content Edition, a monthly online publication with news, deals, lifestyle tips, and so much more from Jamaica, the USA, and Canada. Visit go-jamaica.com/NA Gleaner Branded Edition or the jamaica-gleaner.com website to see the most current copy. Be in the know right from your home. The Gleaner, where life unfolds.
The following is a notice to shareholders of Radio Jamaica Limited. Shareholders of Radio Jamaica are advised that the hosting of its annual general meeting will be held on Wednesday, October 20 at 10 a.m. in Kingston. However, given the recent gathering limits imposed on AGMs, the meeting will be held without the physical attendance of shareholders. Further, attendance will be virtual for only those who register to use links being published in the Gleaner and Star or received from calling the company. For a few shareholders who may not be able to join virtually from home, arrangements are being made for 15 shareholders chosen on a first-come, first-served basis to attend virtually within the gathering limits and appropriately distanced at the offices of Radio Jamaica Limited at 32 Lyndhurst Road and 15 at the Gleaner at 7 North Street. Additional rules or access will be communicated directly to those registered shareholders. For information on registering to attend virtually, attend as one of the persons at Lyndhurst Road or North Street, or on how to collect a printed copy of this year's annual report, shareholders must call 876-932-6207 or 876-733-2610 or any of the additional numbers printed in the Gleaner and the Star. Calls should be between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. from Monday, October 11 to Friday, October 15.
It's the show that engages you with stimulating and intriguing discussions to spice up your night. It's Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas, Mondays to Thursdays from 10 p.m. until midnight.
Hello.
Hello, Pastor.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Where you may ask me a question, I may or may not answer.
Hear pertinent advice and share your thoughts on topical issues, relationship matters. Get the answers you need for your burning questions. It all comes together on Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas.
Look like she did love me to me. But me still, there's she pushed me out, so do my best anyway.
That's Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas, keeping your company Mondays to Thursdays from 10 p.m. till midnight, right here on Power 106 FM.
Both sides of the story.
This live broadcast of Both Sides of the Story in observance of Revival Heritage Day is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Que hora es en español? Son las 4:20. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 4h21. Time just changed. 现在TDN 了4点21分. 21 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? Yes, young people, we know it's holiday, it's midterm break. But you know what we always say, even when school is out, homework is always in, because homework is about preparation, and proper preparation prevents poor performance. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And as we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. Let's continue with this very special edition of Both Sides of the Story, where we've been telling the story of revivalism in Jamaica, Jamaica's first folk religion, which has been submitted for recognition of UNESCO's representative to UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. We've been learning a lot, and we hope you too have been uh, acquiring additional information if you had some already, or perhaps you're just now learning about revivalism. Whatever the situation, good to have you on board. Let's say good afternoon now and welcome to Bishop Eric Guthrie. Good afternoon, Bishop Guthrie. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm fine.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us. You, where is your church?
Pete Fenton, connected to Watton also.
Oh, it's connected. That's what I was trying to pick up. That's why I asked the question the way I did. Right. So that seems to be a big, what you call it, a big diocese that you have there.
Yes, it is an all island thing.
Mm-hmm. And how would you describe what it means to be a revivalist? What does it mean to be a revivalist based on your own experience?
To be a revivalist is a spiritual calling we got from the Lord. Mm-hmm. Being hearing the gospel preached, accept the word, being baptized, filled with the Holy Spirit. And then the Spirit of the Lord began to reveal itself unto us in different ways. And through that, then we continue in the faith as a revival, because that's where we got the calling.
We have heard stories so far this afternoon of those who grew up with their grandparents or parents who were already in the church, and therefore they automatically got pulled into the movement and haven't really left. What's your story, Bishop Guthrie?
I was called in the Spirit, not grown up as a revival son or with mother or father, but got the calling in the Spirit from the Spirit of the Lord, and then continue in the faith under the leadership that I was under, and grown in the Spirit as our Paul with Timothy. Timothy was grown up in the Spirit along with Paul. Paul educated Timothy spiritually, and he grew to be his spiritual son. So was I called in the Spirit and was grown up under my leader and was educated in the Spirit under the leadership of my past leader. And there I continue until this time.
I see. And what gives you the greatest joy? What makes you feel really good being a revivalist? That one thing when you think about it, that one feeling that you get when you contemplate where you're coming from, where you are now. What is that thing?
Just the word of God, the joy of the word that dwells between. Mm-hmm. Because when we looked upon other churches, that's where we are. Mm-hmm. We believe in the repentance, the baptism, and the filling of the Holy Spirit. And we walk according to the rules. In humans' life, people would make mistakes, but our general living is point of holiness. So we strive unto holiness. And because of that, as what the Lord placed between us or between me, Paul tells Timothy to stir up the gift that is in him, that it will continue to grow. And so that spiritual seed that the Lord placed between me being watered, and then it grow to where I am now.
Mm-hmm. And what about do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How receptive have they been, or has it been just a natural immersion for them in terms of being a part of the revivalist church?
No, not emotionally. They accepted the word of God. Mm-hmm. and also receive their water baptism, the baptism of the Holy Spirit, and also walking in the fullness of the Word of God.
And how is it? Is it a particular? Because I asked the question because there are some members of the church who they have their children, but for whatever reason, the children aren't inclined to being a part of that experience. At least by the time they get to the adulthood or close enough to being adults, they tend to drift away. So you're saying your children have pretty much stayed within the fold?
Not all, 4 children, but 2 is fully dedicated presently.
Yes.
But the others still recognize and love the word, but they have not yet got saved.
I see.
So it's not because the child or children see mother and father in it, why some would just attached onto it.
Yeah.
It's a calling from the Lord. So Paul, as I said, preached a word over in Macedonia. People hear the words of God and they got that spiritual calling. Even as Saul on Damascus Road when the Lord called him. So when you got that calling from the Lord, then you're able to maintain that calling.
Great. Well, we could ask you so many more questions, but as you would imagine, there are other bishops waiting in line and other stories to share as we spread the word as far with respect to revivalism here in Jamaica. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Bishop Guthrie, and we wish you all the very best.
Okay, thank you, and you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bishop Eric Guthrie of the Revivalist Church, another of the bishops speaking with us now. Let's get in a word from David Reed from the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, the JCDC. David Reed, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I am fine, thanks. Revivalism is always, it's like ever present in the JCDC's program of events. I notice in particular in the what's the category? In what category does it fall? Remind us.
Well, we have it in the folk, traditional folk form, which is a part of the dance, or that focuses on the traditional folk dances.
All right, hold it right there. Sorry to cut you so early, but we have to go to the break. Didn't realize we're that close to the break. Let's take the break and come back with David Reed of the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30. Did you know that the National Irrigation Commission Limited is the sole authority for irrigation systems in Jamaica? The National Irrigation Commission Limited enables the improvement in agricultural productivity through the provision of efficient and affordable irrigation to farmers and other customers. Contact them 977-6624 or 977-6727 or visit their website www.nicjamaica.com to learn more. Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture.
The educational system has faced unprecedented challenges as a result of COVID-19, and online learning is now the order of the day. Tune in to Power Talk with Simon Crosskill this Friday, October 15, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we focus on the educational system and discuss issues affecting schools, concerns on what the government has put in place, and much more. This broadcast is brought to you by the Michael University College, Monique College, Book Depot Limited, Harlem Publishers Caribbean Limited, Elite Shipping and Courier Service, the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, and the College of Agriculture, Science and Education Case. That's Power Talk with an educational focus this Friday, October 15, only on Power 106 FM.
Power Talk on Power 106 FM, finding solutions to the challenges we face in a globalized world. Power Talk, taking talk radio to another level. Join Dr. Herbert Gale on Mondays and Tuesdays and Simon Crosskill from Wednesday to Friday as they provide riveting analysis on the issues of the day and speak with stakeholders charged with driving innovation to move Jamaica forward. Tune in for innovative features designed to showcase local developments and highlight how the global
issues of the 21st century are being addressed. That's the powerful pair, Dr. Herbert Gale and Simon Croskill on Power Talk, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays, right here on Power 106 FM.
Both sides of the story.
Revivalism is an Afro-Jamaican folk religion that was recognized after the Great Revival, which took place in Jamaica between 1860 and 1861. Revivalism is celebrated by revival bands through the performance of ritual songs, music, dance, dress, and color symbolism integrated into a colorful and rich symbolic system. Join both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm this Thursday, October 14, from 2 to 5 p.m., celebrating Heritage Week in observance of Revival Heritage Day. This broadcast is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
This live broadcast of Both Sides of the Story in observance of Revival Heritage Day is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
27 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32, Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with this special edition of Both Sides of the Story. Revivalism, representing an Afro-Jamaican identity. Dr. Maria A. Robinson Smith's book. And we're sharing that information as we did at the top of the program because we just will not be able to fit in everything on this special broadcast. But we hope the level of awareness has been increased and is still increasing as the program progresses. So let's get back to David Reed of the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC, which is an organization that continues to keep our heritage retentions alive and well through the various programs, activities, events. And David Reed, you were outlining the category. You said folk, is it Jamaican folk forms?
Right, the integrated song and dance,
Yes.
singing and the dancing, which revival is a part of. We take that both the singing and the dancing as a part of our competition within the JCDC.
I see. Hold it there as we welcome Bernard Janke. Bernard Janke, thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Great. Now, is it that you have a permanent display of revivalism material, instruments, tools, etc., or did you have some kind of I seem to remember some kind of exhibition as far as the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica is concerned?
Well, we've actually had more than one exhibition pertaining to revival, 2 or 3. We don't have a permanent exhibition as such,
yes,
but we do have artifacts and the posters that were used in those exhibitions as part of our archive.
Right.
So we have maintained that.
I see. But in the exhibitions that you've had, the 3 or so, those, what would have led to your staging those exhibitions? Just trying to create a greater level of awareness when it comes to revivalism in Jamaica?
Well, it forms part of our mandate to research, document, and preserve for posterity various aspects of our cultural heritage. And revival is one such, having really emerged out of Jamaica, and it forms an important aspect of our intangible cultural heritage, which we are, responsible for, documenting and archiving as part of our role as a national focal point.
So
of the UNESCO Convention on Intangible Cultural Heritage.
Yeah. And so you'd have reference or actual displays of the meat, bread, pastry, fruits, spices, the medicinal plants, the seeds, the flowers, the candles, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. You
Yes.
yes, you'd
Yes,
have
yes, yes. We have
yes. Sorry, go ahead.
yes, we do. We have that documented in our library archive.
Yeah.
So that is available. Well, now by appointment because we're closed to the public due to COVID restrictions.
Yes.
But we hope in the not too distant future to be able to reopen again, so that people can actually come in and consult the archives.
Yes. And just before we wrap, David Reed, how is there some kind of a program of training or public education, for example, for those participating in Jamaican folk forms like revivalism?
Sure.
Because it's as much as it is presented as an in a folk form, it's not a joke, is it?
No, it's one of those areas that we take very seriously. And we have workshops each year to have train the trainers so that they can go back and really get the students and the participants involved and to practice it or showcase it as closely as possible to the authentic revival movement.
Yes. And clearly JCDC has been impacted by COVID-19 as
Right.
well, like the rest of the world, the rest of us as well.
Totally, because even before that, in 2017, we partnered to do now a revival music festival, which became an annual thing until the COVID last year, where we have now the churches themselves and their bands, a sing-off type competition.
I'm sorry, how did I miss that? Where was I? What year was this?
We had it 2017, 18, and 19. We didn't have it last year.
no.
It would have been staged the Sunday before Heroes Day. This year we're not going to have it again, but we hope by next year we are back in.
I really hope so, because I
Sure.
can't imagine how I would have missed that. Jeez.
I don't know.
Must have been quite rich. Must have been quite rich spiritually and otherwise.
So we continue to support the movement because we recognize its importance to Jamaica and to the Jamaican cultural heritage.
Yes. And Bernard Janke, how do you ensure that you don't the artifacts, the written material, etc., that all of that is properly collated and secured, etc. How important an exercise is that?
It is a critical exercise, and the material that we have on revival is, in fact, properly archived. So, we use internationally recognized cataloging systems, and we are upgrading our archival processes. So, one big issue is conservation, but it's a challenge that faces most institutions involved in archiving cultural heritage material. But we are in the midst of a project that is looking at, securing what we have across the nation.
Okay, very good. And now during this downtime, it's a good time for you to, and same for you too, David Reed, to look at do an assessment of your activities, your events, your artifacts in the case of your situation, Bernard Janke, and in this
That's an
downtime.
ongoing process anyway. Pre-COVID, during COVID, and will continue post-COVID.
So it's part of the culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Understood. Well, thank you both, gentlemen. Yours is very important work as far as our heritage is concerned. We thank
Institutional support.
Institutional support.
Yes.
Yes, well put. Institutional support. The institutions here being the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, which you represent, David Reed, and of course, the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, represented by Bernard Janke. Thank you both so much. Time is never enough for these programs, but thanks for your time. Thanks for sharing with us.
Yes, and thanks for having us.
It's been a pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you very much, Bernard Janke, and thank you, David Reed. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good then.
Bye-bye. And let's speak with another of the bishops right now. How about Bishop Raleigh Christie? Good afternoon, Bishop Christie. How are you?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm doing great, thank God. You?
I am fine, thanks. Now, some of us as children, no doubt, would be excited by some of the elements that go into certain. I don't know if I'm using the right term, mile or not. In terms of certain, well, let's call them rites, rites, that are performed, and certain things that are used. So, for example, I was listing some of the items earlier on, which at some point or another, one way or another, would have been used within the revival church. The revival table is really what I'm getting at, and all that is usually what determines what gets on that table, and why and how and wherefore.
Well, I keep Thanksgiving. I call my Thanksgiving celebration.
Yes.
On a yearly basis, like every October. But during the pandemic, I don't have it because I would normally have it a 4-day period. But during the pandemic, I don't have it. So yesterday was my celebration. Yesterday.
Oh.
Yes. It was a great one.
Yes.
So I set the tables, and everything that's used on the tables are stuff that eat. But it's got the presentation of your Thanksgiving and the item that you use on the table.
Oh.
Right. So it's nothing set on the table is not something that throw away. It's something that share after and everybody eats.
And you did yours yesterday, you said.
Yeah, I just do a celebration yesterday. Because yesterday was my birthday, so I normally do my Thanksgiving.
But look at that, Bishop, we have something in common. Yesterday was my birthday as well.
Really? Great. Happy related birthday.
Same to you. Same to you. Hold one moment, please.
I know that you're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. Tune in every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. to midday for your legal corner with Dahlia Walker Huntington during Power Talk on Power 106 FM. You can call our numbers 876-922-4112-5. The text and WhatsApp line is 876-279-8598. You can also send an email at yourlegalcorner106@gmail.com. Join Your Legal Corner for all matters in relation to immigration to the United States. Here, Dahlia offer great legal advice on your immigration queries and concerns. Learn about the filing process, when to file, and how to prepare for the move. That's Your Legal Corner, 11:30 to midday, every Thursday right here on Power 106 FM.
Both sides of the story.
This live broadcast of Both Sides of the Story in observance of Revival Heritage Day is brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Both sides of the story.
14 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. Revivalism is the focus, and there's just been so much ground to cover. We haven't even been able to to intersperse a lot of the feedback coming in from all over the world on social media, on our Facebook page, because we're streaming live on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page, and affiliated pages live on YouTube as well, because such is the nature of the program. It's a lot of ground to cover, and we don't have much more time left, so we're trying our best to get it all in. And so, right, so Bishop Raleigh Christie, yesterday was the day. So that's one such occasion on which you would have the revival table. And if so, what are the other occasions?
I have different tables there because persons in my church that get Thanksgiving, I would normally do it. But my annual Thanksgiving is every October.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Understood.
And I do my Thanksgiving celebration of my birthday.
Lovely. Hold it there. Let's just bring in Bishop Ray Foster, who is pressed for time. Bishop Foster, how are you? Thank you for your patience.
Blessed and highly favored. Greeting everyone.
Greetings.
My brothers, greetings.
Greetings.
Bishop Riley Christie.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bishop Foster. No, you're pressed for time, so we wanted to get a quick perspective from you for those who are perhaps tuning in for the first time and having not heard all that went on before. If you were to bring them into the fold, so to speak, what would you tell them about revivalism?
Okay. We have different type of revivalism. Everybody have their own picture of revivalism. But I can say concerning the revivalism that I've grown up in is a set of people who have converted calling of the Lord on their life. God will move them, whether they were converted in a church by a pastor, got a vision from the Lord, but they will be moved by God, calling upon the name of the Lord.
Right. And are there particular rites that are performed within your church that might be different from how it is done in another church? I mean, what determines what? Because as you said, there are different types of revivalism according to how those who receive the calling would have received the calling and the kind of revival church they would have grown up in. So are there some things that are constant, that are common to all who practice revivalism, or is just a fact of life that there are differences from one revival church to another?
Well, the Bible do say that we have to work out our own salvation, and then you might find that in this religion, in this revival church, they will not accept. I'm on the air, please. Tell nobody to stop me. In this revival church, they will not do tables, but in another revival church, they will do tables. And then in another church, they will do the table, but they will not do this part of the table, and they will not place this on the table. So it's like we all have to work out our own salvation and make sure that whatever we are putting out there, it's a Christian movement. It's a Christian movement that's based on the word of the Lord. The revival that I've grown up, the word of God, we use the word of God as a compass and as a guide to us.
Yes. Well, Bishop, we look forward to speaking with you again at some point in the future. But thank you. We know you're pressed for time. Thank you very much for sharing with us this afternoon. You have told us a lot in a short space of time. Thank you.
Bless you. Bless you.
All the best. All the best. And Bishop Raleigh Christie, you had the honor of telling us about the table, because we hadn't dealt with that earlier on. So we thank you for giving us a clear picture of that element of revivalism as well. We thank you very much. So you're in what town too? Everybody seems to be in what town? Or are you in the where are you? The east, west, north? St. Thomas. Oh, all right. So Yes.
Y'all of St. Thomas.
Yes. And how's your congregation there?
My congregation, I have a lot of members. You know, some come and some leave, and some come again, and some come to church when they're ready. But I have a lot of congregation.
Yes.
I have a lot of members. Yes.
And a lot of churches in revival
I have
churches.
5 churches that I oversee under my diocese.
Oh wow! Sounds like you have your hands full.
My hands is full, but they're never too full for the Lord work.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Bishop Christie.
You're welcome, sir.
All the best. Take
Bless
care. Bless you too, Bishop Raleigh Christie, in charge of the diocese in St. Thomas. And here now is Bishop Donovan Morgan. Good afternoon, Bishop Morgan. How are you?
Blessing to you, sir. I'm okay.
Great. And your diocese would be what? Montego Bay, Kingston? Kingston. And how active a diocese would you say you have in Kingston?
Well, I'm not only in Kingston, I'm all over Jamaica.
Oh, I see.
27 branches strong.
How many?
27 branches strong.
My word, that's a lot.
Yes, I'm all over the place. Montego Bay, Portland, Clarendon, St. Catherine. I'm all over the place.
And how do you ensure consistency throughout all of the churches that you have responsibility for?
So we break down the work on the diocese in 4 different areas. We would say Cornwall, Middlesex, and Surrey, but we have it as a team that work in each county.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have like the overseers who oversee these church. So they are the person who work out there in the field.
Yes.
You know, we have various meetings and we discuss.
Mm-hmm.
So the churches they are doing well.
Yeah.
They're doing well.
Good. And also on the note of consistency, in terms of how the revivalism is practiced, how you do things, how do you ensure that the church in the east or the west or the north or the south, that they're not all going in different directions, as opposed to sticking to the traditions of the church?
Well, we have various seminars, and we allow these people to send in various comments if they can't make it. So we have heads of church meeting where we meet all the heads of the affair, and we discuss the way forward with the church, the whole aspect of the revivalism, that it being continued in the same direction that we started.
And technology does play a role in your church, right?
Yes,
in this day and age.
In this day and age, yes.
All right, so you're up to the time.
Well, yes, I have like my officership alone in the headquarters is about 80 people.
Oh wow!
That's for officers. So we have several bishops, several pastors, several overseers, several deacons. And we still keep some traditional name like the altar mother, the table mother, the vineyard keeper, the leader, the leadresses, and it go on.
Yeah. Wish we could go on. Boy, we have so many questions for you, but we're learning so much this afternoon. Thank you so much, Bishop Morgan, for sharing with us. All the very best to you and the entire church family.
God bless you, sir, and I wish you learn a lot.
Oh, yes, and still learning. Thanks a lot, Bishop.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Bishop Donovan Morgan, another of the bishops of the Revival Church here in Jamaica. And we're going to wrap just as how we started with Dr. Maria Robinson Smith. Yes, she's a cultural consultant, former performing arts coordinator with the JCDC, and program manager, Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, a lecturer as well at Edna Manley UWI. She has taught at those institutions, Edna Manley UWI and MICO. And her book, Revivalism, Representing an Afro-Jamaican Identity. Dr. Smith, giving you an opportunity now to help us to put a cap on it, on this, what has been a very engaging, stimulating, and powerful presentation of revivalism in Jamaica?
I'm just happy and thankful for all the people who participated, the bishops here in Jamaica, those who participated from overseas, Bishop Bourne and H. Patton, and everybody, of Hutton and Kurt. We just had, I think, a wide body of knowledge that I'm sure Mr. Janky will agree with me that there are some things that we can make notes on and put in the, and also things that we can now continue to research, and we have things to look forward for and all of that. So I'm just happy, and I think that in spite of the technical difficulties in the start, I think the participation was good.
Yes.
And thanks. And I hope that we can have this conversation again. And I want to apologize to some of the bishops and so on who were standing by, and we didn't get to them, but I hope that they enjoyed listening. And you can always, they can always, I'm sure you'll tell them, continue to share their comments. With the
Yes, there are a
commission.
lot of comments I've been seeing coming through. Yes.
Yes. And I think we now will be looking at those comments myself, like Mr. Janky, Mr. Reed, Dr. Claudette Clark, and we'll be looking at those to see how they can help us to go forward. And I want to thank Yuri from the Caribbean office for always standing by with us as well.
Yes. And we definitely want to thank you. In fact, for those whose interest has been piqued by all that we have presented this afternoon, and they have heard of your book, they want to get a copy of Revivalism, representing an Afro-Jamaican identity. How can they get their hands on your book, Dr. Maria Smith?
I know it's at the University Press, and I think the University Bookshop, and I think it's on Amazon. Other places too, but I can't remember those.
Understood. We're out of time. Dr. Smith, thank you very much, and your team.
Yes.
And all the very best.
We have a good little team there. Stacey Joe Hill in the office, who has been here with us, and Dr. Clark, Mr. Reed, and Mr. Janky always standing by, and so on. So we give thanks.
Great.
And I know Minister Grange wanted to take part today, but I gather she has been so tied up that you know how
we know how it is
sometimes.
Yes.
But
well, it's on our Facebook page and on YouTube, so it will be there for us as long as there's life on Earth. So, but thank you very much, Dr. Smith.
The conversation going.
Absolutely. We're out of time. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
The preceding broadcast of both sides of the story in observance of Revival Heritage Day was brought to you by the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's news at 5.
I am Dervan Gordon. Coming up in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines today, Thursday, October 14, 2021. FID, Mocha, and the police called in to investigate matter involving Acting Permanent Secretary Dr. Grace McLean and the Joint Committee for Tertiary Education. Integrity Commission insisting on removal of gag order while it conducts investigations. 400% increase in irregularities during this year's sitting of CAPE exams. Minister of Health announces major COVID-19 vaccination blitz this Heroes Weekend. In business news, local and regional small businesses set to benefit from new support program. The news segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by Flow. Get a winning performance that saves you 50% off your mobile plan each month when you add mobile to your home internet. Now the details of the news on Radio Jamaica 94 FM and online at radiojamaica94fm.com. The Financial Investigation Division, FID, the major